disposable product, buy a gearbox paddle. It will last for years.
You just pitched me.
Yep. That's why I'm sponsored by them, because they're the one company that makes a durable product in a disposable industry.
All right, so I'll go and look.
I've been with them for 4 years. I've only had to replace one paddle in 4 years. Every new paddle I get is the next generation paddle that they're releasing that they send me.
All right.
But I've only had one paddle wear out in 4 years.
Who else is sold?
I'm sold. I'll hook up with you to get a paddle.
Yeah, I'll give you like the good, better, best. People ask me all the time, and it kind of depends where you're at. You can spend $100, you can spend $200, you can spend $300. Will you know the difference?
Yeah,
not really. Depending on where you're at in your game, you may or may not know the difference. So we'll have a conversation about where you're at in your game, and then that will inform what's the best thing for now.
Okay.
All right, gang, we're live now. So welcome. Yeah, Tim, if you wanted to make announcements to a lot of people watching outside of the platform, this is a great time. Welcome everyone. We're going to start in 15 seconds. Who else can see the timer? We're so excited for this timer thing that we figured out. You can't, Tim? Knox says yes. It's
upper corner. There.
All right. Welcome, everyone.
All right, playing with the app still, so I gotta turn off the music and the timer. Done and done.
Okay.
Welcome to your Community Architects Gathering. So wonderful to see these bright, shining souls. Tim, Ringgold, Svi, Laura, Stacy, Jenny, David, Kathy, Dr. Monsi, Alex, Knock, Nathan, and John Quirk. And if you are joining us some other way, welcome. You are in the right place. What is this about? As community architects, we are notorious overgivers. So this is a place for you to be poured into. Also, as entrepreneurs, we have a lot to keep track of in our heads. I won't go into all that we have to keep track of, but you know what I'm talking about. Everything on your entrepreneurial journey that we can get stuck in our head so much. And with that comes the stories and projections and limiting beliefs. That's all in the mind, right? So entrepreneurs are especially prone to being heady. And as conscious entrepreneurs, that means rising above the trappings of the mind. And the best way I know to do that is to be out in community. Obviously, you get that, or else you wouldn't be called to be leading communities of your own. So this is your community gathering. Now, why does this matter? There's a loneliness epidemic out in the world. I'm sure you've heard this. I read recently that social isolation is the equivalent of smoking 15 cigarettes per day. Allow that to sink in. Who are we going to be about it? We see how in this period of isolation, how polarization is the extension of this. All the stories that we make up in the experience of isolation. An expression I like very much is, if you know someone's story, you could not help but fall in love with them. Well, that's what happens in community gatherings, that we find each other's stories. In terms of impact in the world, when you're in a community, it's been proven that entrepreneurs in particular who are in peer advisory groups are 2 to 3 times more effective, successful with gaining results than if they were doing it themselves. So that's one reason we're standing for more groups like this being out in the world. Also, as a leader, the self-actualization that comes from being in the front of the room, being a steward of others' transformation, in my view, really brings out the very, very best in who we are as people. I'd like to introduce my stunning co-host, love of my life, Dr. Monsi Shah. So she is my partner with the ARC and with Retreatpreneur Mastermind. Honey, take it away.
Hi, everyone. It is absolutely a delight to be sharing time and space with everyone here. I'm sure most of you are on that side of the globe. I'm here in India right now. It's 11 p.m. And I can say that because this gathering's happening, I do not feel like it's 11 p.m. It feels like, fresh start because I get to see all of you and share this beautiful time. So I'm really excited for what we're building with ARC and Intentional Community at ARC, which is a mastermind group. And we also truly believe in having an asset-based business. Our our CPA would agree that we're all about building something that's sustainable and has a legacy. And that's why we own the retreat center. So we have the opportunity to have a mastermind where a lot of our beautiful leaders like Tim and others are hosting their own retreats at the ARC. So it's such an honor and really excited for this call with our really lovely, amazing host, guest, Stacey, Lauren.
Cool. And do you have any photos you could show with the ARC, Monty?
Absolutely. I'm going to have the team share the ARC photos here real quick. Is it just me who sees blank screen?
We can see it now.
All right. Okay, good. So this is the beautiful ARC. It is located in the mountains of San Diego on 4 acres. And we host amazing, beautiful souls here. We have a geodesic dome, and we have about, I would say, 8 to 9 bedrooms that we use for hosting folks, and we can easily have up to 24 participants. So it's a boutique retreat center that we are really, really proud of. And this is one of a kind where we have so far hosted over, I would say, 500 to 600 folks in last year and a half, and still counting.
One of our commitments, gang, is to be creating transformational communities that are truly transformational and create tribe. And many of you will recognize I'm about to share next is that held in hotel ballrooms. That was a primary place in which they were held. And with that came certain business practices like the famous butts and seats phrase, and volume base, and how to have as many people in the room so that you can sell as many of your programs as possible. Now, we're not in the space of judgment here. It's just observation. That's just the status quo. And what's happened is that a lot of people have been burnt by this model, both the participants and the leaders. It's expensive from a leadership standpoint, as you're all leaders, to be renting out these hotel ballrooms. We're talking about $100,000 quite easily in many cases. We had a friend who spent $1 million on her hotel ballroom event. So with that comes a certain pressure to be making sales. Sponsors will come on, like anyone who's willing to put money down. It could be Bernie Madoff for all we know, right? Like that kind of integrity level, that can happen in these hotel ballrooms, and something obviously gets compromised in those spaces. Retreats are sacred by nature. And a big problem in the retreat space is that a lot of people struggle financially. They can approach it as an artist more than as an entrepreneur. An artist being someone who says, oh, I feel like painting that painting. I feel like composing this music album, which is wonderful. And there is this sense of, if I make money at it, great. And it's sort of like up to fate, whether I do or not. As entrepreneurs, we can't do that. So can't say I'm going to do a retreat in Bali because I feel like it. We can't really just approach it as we would an artist. Instead, we use the term retreatpreneur, which is an entrepreneur who is using retreats to grow their business. Specifically, conscious entrepreneurs and investors or capital raisers, that is really near and dear to our heart. So if you resonate with that, then you are especially in the right place. I'll share a little bit about myself. If it's your first time meeting me, my love of community comes from feeling like such an outcast when I was a kid. My mother's Chinese, my father is white and Jewish, so I didn't fit in with either side. Even though I can speak Cantonese decently, I was not considered really Chinese and didn't fit in with those kids. And then on my father's side, even though I was bar mitzvahed, I was reminded more than once, like, you're not really Jewish, because my mother was not Jewish. So it wasn't until I decided to throw this epic party in high school, bringing together all the different social cliques. And that was something else that bothered me, was how it was so manufactured in high school that different people didn't hang out with certain people. And I just thought, why? It'd be so much cooler if we did come together. And it was. So bringing together 80 people across my class from different cliques, I felt that this was the best game in town. And I've dedicated myself to making a career out of bringing people over and over, from music festivals to hotel ballroom conferences to seminars, and now with retreats. Since 2011, I've mentored over 1,000 entrepreneurs how to use live in-person events and paid communities to grow your business. And now we're going to turn it to you all. A major reason we come together at this Community Architects Gathering is to be creating more collaboration, partnerships. Our slogan is Together We Rise. So we're going to get into groups of 3. And Ella, do you have the prompts handy so we can broadcast them? I'll also read them out loud, but we want to be able to broadcast for you all.
Well, we can put it on the screen here. Let's just do a share screen.
Okay, sweet. So you're going to be getting into your groups shortly, and your questions are as follows. Why are you passionate about creating community? So I shared a little bit about my journey, right? And this is something that's really important as community leaders, is like be constantly crafting your why. I invite you not to do this from the canned place that you might be your initial response. Maybe there's some deeper truth to be revealed in this next conversation. So why are you passionate about creating community? And then the second question is, what's the next level for you as a community leader? Okay, so why are you passionate about creating community, and what is the next level for your community or your role as a community leader? We're going to get into groups of 3, and we'll be back in 9 minutes. So budget approximately 3 minutes per person, and then we'll have 1 minute to wrap it up in the end. All right, so Ella, if you could get the breakout groups going. While you're doing it, gang, we have certain members here of the Retreatpreneur Masterminds, Tim Ringgold, Knock. If you guys would rename yourselves with RPM so people know who you guys are, that would be fantastic. Just put your name and then RPM at the end. And these are folks who've been to the ARC many times, and we've had the privilege of helping them with their business and their events as well. All right, Ella, are we ready? Okay. Or I can do it in my, okay, you got it, cool. Okay, so then we'll have 9 minutes timed, and then we'll come back as we plan, top of the hour. And Are we pausing the recording right now, or how does this work?
No, we're live right now. And then we had to assign Lynn. I don't know why she did not get assigned. Okay. All right. So what we want to do is, since we're live, we cannot really pause. We want to have the slide up. Ella, can you bring the slide up? And it'd be awesome to kind of be a little more smooth with transitions. Like when you hear us talk, you don't have to wait for our prompts. You just have to like keep doing stuff. So please pull up the slides that you've prepared for the breakout session. So John, tell me more about why you're passionate about creating community.
I'm passionate about creating community because this is, well, first off, am I watching time or is Ella watching time?
Oh, did you start the timer?
Well, I said 9 minutes. And I did notice it was 9:48 when we started. Oh, that looks good.
Well,
No,
can we not
that's
have
not
it
the
this
one.
way?
That's an old one. So the one that's current is the one that's in the Google Doc. That looks nice, though.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's keep talking, and while she's fixing it, if you can, Ella, do a full screen once you're done here. Well, so John, tell me more about why are you passionate other than, you had people bullying you? I roll my eyes at that. Like, it's getting so old now. Like, there might be a little better story, I feel, personally.
All right. So I appreciate the invitation. I'll say that the reason I'm passionate about community is that I see how built in the tendency to separate ourselves from others is along gender lines. And there's a time to drop in a men's container or a woman's container. But when it comes to, say, reactivity like incel movement or feminism, man hating, that's one example. Religious lines, race lines, nationalist boundaries, the tendency to separate ourselves, obviously political parties, it's so built in. And that's on top of our own human wiring of they cut me off on the road, they never listen to me. This separation that happens again and again and again. And what's predictable is that people are going to be fighting, are going to be sick. And the solution is community.
Well, I want to share a little bit about why I'm passionate about building a community. I'll be straight up, like, just because I remembered. There's a message from God. I remembered we didn't come here to build alone, live alone, do things alone. And we're at a fork in the lay of the land with humanity that individualism has seeped in so deeply. Like everything that came as a growth also had its own, I would say, downside. And being humans that we are, we kept caving in, we kept giving in. We've lost our sense of belonging. We've lost our sense of spirituality. Like people think that spirituality is something outside of us, but the truth is that if we came as humans, we're spiritual. Like there is no separation. Like we're just spiritual beings having a human experience. So everything is spiritual. And That's why we need community where there's leaders. They can talk to each other about these things. They can have answers. They don't have to become addicts to food, screens, or substances, because we can truly be there for each other. And that's what's missing. Like, being there for each other is what we came here for. And we forgot that. And then that's why there's a lot of breakdowns. I mean, talk about Jesus. He devoted his whole life to building a community and loving them. We forgot that. Like, how many people remember that? Like, that was his one sole message. Like, literally, that was the core of everything he did. Is love.
He's also a teacher, went deep into the transformation that he's here to bring. So
he's such a wise saint, leader,
and
teacher.
what I was going to add is that he did it on such a mass scale where Christianity is like if there was only one network television channel, like say NBC or CBS, and everyone had to watch that one channel and never question what it was. And I bring that up because there's so many different channels nowadays for different tastes and different values. And that's what needs to happen with tribes. Right? Is that there's it's like how HBO or any of these YouTube channels have a vision for the YouTube creator of what's the message that they want to bring or the people they want to come together. And there's a place for each of them.
Absolutely. Do you roll your eyes at people when they say they have an online community where they have truly never really met each other offline, and they don't have any cadence or any place to meet or a regular gathering that people can look forward to? Because I sure roll my eyes to that.
I think it's for their consciousness level. I think us rolling our eyes is a bit, I try to avoid that judgment. But I'll say that for their...
No, when I roll my eyes, I just, not from judgment, but I just feel like, how could we like be so complacent that we call that a community when it's just an online hangout?
Yeah, I liken it more towards if somebody is working out and their workout is going for a walk. Okay, it's kind of a low level like workout to be going for. Yeah.
I appreciate your perspective and you humbling me with this, because sometimes, the ego likes to get in the way. And because I put in so much heart and soul to hosting people, and yeah, it's a lot of work. And I'm not saying that I am in any way like not happy with it, but definitely there is a little bit of a arrogance there, right? That, so I get it. Thank you.
Well,
I appreciate that.
That's awesome. You recognize it. And it only is because I'm really vigilant with myself. But like, what am I judging? For me, my equivalent would be those gurus in the hotel ballrooms. That's where my judge comes in. I'm like, hold on.
I guess
everyone's on their own for that. Honor them.
Yeah. Well, I think we can stop the timer now.
Yeah, we should. We're going to take shares and hand over to Stacy, and I want to start her at 10 o'clock. Yeah, please close the breakout rooms.
As soon as the timer goes off, yeah. That's what the timer's for. All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the Community Architects Gathering. So excited to have you all here today, and what a beautiful turnout we've had. would love to hear a few shares of what was cooking in the rooms there.
Yes. What opened up for you in your rooms? Who would like to share?
I'll go. I mean, I think there's just a really strong belief in the collective that in-person experiences are just so necessary and needed
I'm
now.
apologize you. I totally let you down. Didn't set you up. So if you would please say your name and where you're based, and then go from there.
Oh, I just assumed my inherent fame was enough that people. No, I'm just kidding. My name's John Quirk. I live in San Diego, California, and I run a company called SoCal Wellness Retreats out here. So retreats and community building is absolutely my jam. But yeah, no, I think that collectively, like we all feel that with increased, digital offerings, AI, people going more and more digital, and mental health obviously being in one of the worst places that it's ever been, that the need to get people together meaningfully in person is only going to go up as time goes on. So that was my big takeaway.
Yes. It's so great to have you, John. I know that you're a big player in the retreat space. So love that you're joining us today.
Happy to be here.
Let's take a few more shares. What opened up for you? Lynn Bloom.
Hey, John. Hey, Muncie.
We love Lynn.
Thank you, guys. Hi, Stacy. Yeah, it was really enjoyable to get into the smaller group. I loved getting to meet Alex and also Tim. I'm really inspired by their passion for bringing healing to others and just the journey that it's taken them through, with music and emotional grief healing. And then Alex with the physical healing, like where they have gone, where they've been through. Oh my gosh, Laura's in here. Alex was talking about how he's went to Peru for a long time. So you guys will have to jam together. But anyways, I'm just really inspired by all of you. And what I really got from that is how much love there is for others, like the purpose-driven love. And it's not just for community. It's not just for sales. It has so much purpose, and it's just making the world a better place. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Lynn. So Lynn is a new dear friend. She was at the Arc this past Saturday, where I got to showcase my Indian curry making skills, thanks to Muncie Shaw. And truly, Lynn, you embody so many wonderful, amazing qualities of community builder. She just did it for us right now, gang. You see how she raised people up and celebrate them and about connecting others together. Truly, this is the responsibility of a community builder, one of the major ones. Jenny Edwards.
Hello. So happy to be here. I'm Jenny Edwards. I live in San Diego also, and I've had the joy and pleasure to capture some awesome events that John and Monty have put on at the Arc and witness so much transformation. I love it. And being in the small group was such an inspiring conversation too. And to get to know John and Z-Band, and also in there with Laura. It was so great in alignment because I met Laura through Stacy's community, and and because of Stacy's, I'm sure she'll share later, but her $1 billion impact marketplace, I got to win an auction item that Laura had put on, which was a guided retreat or a guided tour of Machu Picchu. And because of that, we're going to create a retreat together at the end of April in Peru. It involves going to Machu Picchu. So it was like, oh, I manifested Laura, in this alignment and energy, and the conscious conversation too about how we all really want to help uplift people and see the transformation. And of course, the in-person energy and the vibe and the joy. It's just lights me up. Thank you.
Yes, Jenny. Thank you so much for being here and for capturing so much of the magic here through photo and video of the Arc. If you ever need someone to capture your live events, Jenny Edwards, to get in touch with her. All right, gang, we're going to switch gears. One of the major challenges, and this will surprise no one, is how to fill our events with the right participants. And since 2007, when I first started putting on events, I've been on this journey of how do you follow events to the right people. So first off, there's like how to get anyone to show up. And then once you have people showing up, how do you make sure they're the right people? And I can tell you some stories of where like, man, I kind of wish this person hadn't shown up at all, right? Or when you make an offer and then people just don't move at all because it's not the right audience. And it's so painful because we pour so much of ourselves financially, energetically into our events. So it's absolutely important we call for the right people. The guest expert I'll be introducing to you is someone who has figured out a way to do just that. We met relatively recently, and sometimes, gang, when you're on this journey where you're really tuning into your alignment, your discernment, you're able to really quickly connect with people, and you know it's game on. We're very selective with whom we bring on as guest experts. By this point, I have a very large Rolodex of people whom I could invite. Yet when this came up, this date, I asked her and she was immediate yes for this because it just made sense on all sides. It's such a fit for this tribe. I'll go ahead and read her professional bio and then we'll bring her up. Stacy Lauren is a TEDx speaker, charity fundraising auctioneer, and founder of Do the Thing, a platform that ignites purpose-driven communities through connection, shared goals, and collective action. Stacy created Do the Thing as a way to move beyond inspiration and into real-time transformation. Her signature tools, My People Parties, and challenges powered by Do the Thing are now being used in schools, companies, and mission-driven communities around the world to activate engagement, build trust quickly, and spark momentum. She's also developing Find My People, a global group directory that connects individuals to communities aligned with their goals, because no one should have to navigate life or success alone. Amen. Previously, Stacy co-founded GoStaff and helped scale it to a $35 million per year industry leader. And she now applies that same business insight to movement building, helping entrepreneurs, leaders, and creators turn their voice, ideas, and lived experiences into community-powered ecosystems that create real impact. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together on Zoom for Stacy Lauren.
So good. Hey, oh my gosh, so good to be here. Thank you so much for having me. It's just been incredible getting to know you and Monsi. You guys, just so you know, when John and Monsi are curating experts, it is legit. They're like it's no joke. We've had like several pre-meetings to discuss what would give the most value to you. And I just wanted to point out they are the ultimate model of like what it looks like to be in community and be able to curate the space with people, because our time is valuable, right? And so I just wanted to just point that out and honor you guys. And I had an opportunity to go to the Arc with Lynn and my boyfriend over the weekend. And I mean, it is the most stunning, just like relaxing space that I could even ever imagine. So I'm so excited to host events there and be a part of all the magic that is being created. But are you good, John? Am I just kind of talking about my background now and we're going into it? Or yeah, okay, cool. So, okay, so here we go. So I had an opportunity in the breakout to talk to a few people. And so that was amazing. Being able to see there's some people in here that are like brand new in the journey of community building and are like looking to create communities. And then others I'm imagining already, like hearing from you, John, I'm imagining you're already building communities with your, John Quirk, sorry, with what you're doing. Maybe just put in the chat, just so I have an idea of where you guys are at in your journey in terms of who already has a community and it's already kind of activated and you're just looking to add more value. And then those of you that are like newer type thing, that would be helpful as well. So a little bit about my background. When I exited my staffing company, I went through this like identity crisis of like who I was and like what I actually wanted to do with my life. And that was when I started my podcast, Do the Thing. And that's when I went on this quest to really discover this formula of what really helps people do the thing. Because when I had my staffing company, I got to notice all these blocks and mental baggage that got in the way of people when they were taking action. And so through this podcast, interview after interview, hundreds of people actually even did street interviews. Actually here in San Diego, I did them in London and Paris and New York. I interviewed people and I dissected the formula of what helps people do the thing, take action. How do we actually move past these like mental blocks, right? And guess what happened? I discovered the thing that like not a lot of people talk about actually, that helps people take action more than ever before. It's actually community, but it's actually different than what a lot of people talk about in community. It's not just like-minded people. It's not just a supportive network. It's not just your friends and family. It's being with people that have the same goal as you. So that was the biggest discovery of talking to people, because I started running these challenges. I actually kind of did it by accident, where I was just doing it for fun. I wasn't ever expecting any of this to be a business. I was just dissecting this formula. I thought I was writing a book, and I ran a dating challenge. I ran a startup podcast challenge, Find Your Voice, 2-Hour Cocktail Party, all these challenges. And what really opened up as I'm kind of like running these challenges was I realized that what really kind of like energizes people and what really gets people excited to be in your community is to have them do something together. So it's not only having a community that's centered around a specific goal, but it's helping people actually like take action together. And this could be something really simple. It could be something like, actually Monty is doing something where she's helping people be able to kind of like, I love this when you say this, John, because I've felt this so many times in my life, where you're pouring into everyone else and not yourself, right? We're over givers. And so like, for example, Monty does something where she helps you give to yourself by resetting yourself. And so that's an example of doing something together. We're growing together, right? For me, I helped people start podcasts. I helped people, what else I do? Go live. It's just really simple things. And so that was one of the biggest things I noticed. And so in terms of filling the room for your events, well, number one, filling the room for your events, you have to draw them in with something, right? Something that they're excited to do together. And so I do something, it's called my people party. This actually I was doing this all the time, but I didn't give it a name until after my TEDx talk. My TEDx talk's called The Power of Community to Help You Achieve Your Goals. And that's when I went through this concept of my people, which is being with people that have the same goal. And so the My People party is really when you have a goal for the party, and then all of the conversations get energized around this goal. So the My People party is a huge part of how I fill the room for events. Here's an example. I had an event in San Diego last April, specifically. We'll talk about that one first. I had all these amazing speakers. I'm posting all their images all over social media and LinkedIn, and I'm tagging them, and they're sharing it with their networks. From the looks of it, that's how the event was filled. Have you guys seen that? How many of you have seen people do this before, where they're like posting all these pictures, you're tagging people, and you're like, 8 days left and the event is coming? Well, guess what happened? Actually, this is where I met Jenny Edwards at this event last April. It was like 2 weeks before the event, and I had 15 people sign up. That was it. And I was doing all the normal practices. And then all of a sudden I'm like, dang it, I've got to go with what I know. And that's when I started doing my people parties and challenges. I figured out who were the people I wanted in the room, and how do I want to draw them in? So one of the parties, I called it Promote Your Business. And so in that party, I actually just had people, imagine it's like we're on a Zoom just like we are now, and I had people promoting their business. They were just sharing who they were, what they were doing. So it was a form of networking. And then at the end of that event, I basically said, hey, by the way, I'm doing this event in San Diego. Who would like to come? And I actually specifically called out people in San Diego. It said, promote your business in San Diego. I did another party, which was called networking. Actually, this one was a challenge. It was called Networking Made Easy, focused on people networking together. And what I realized with that one was I didn't call in business owners, right? So that's where the promote your business, I wanted to talk about business, came in. And so that's where, again, at the end of the challenge, I then invited people into the event that I was doing in San Diego. Then I said, oh, okay, I really want to have some more nonprofits in the room, because I started stirring up this idea of the $1 billion impact, which I'll share a little bit more about in a little bit. And then I did my people party, and I called it Raise Money for Your Nonprofit. And then when I did in that party, I think 100 people came. I put it on Eventbrite, just so you know, Eventbrite. And if you want to do any ads to anything, if you ever do cold traffic, it is the cheapest ad you will ever run, maybe even like $10 a day. And I think 100 people came to that one. This was cold traffic because I'd never done this before. And then with that party specifically, I just talked about what people's goals were around raising money for their nonprofit. And so in terms of filling the room and doing it in community, the My People Party is the best way to do that. But here's what I noticed that I'm really excited to share with you guys. Between all of these parties and all of these challenges that I've done, I've actually noticed the secret to engaging people, which I think is really important for you to understand, because whether you're doing a Zoom or you have like a group on Facebook or school or circle or wherever your community is going to live, you have to understand the psychology behind people engaging. Because how many of you are like, either have a group and like no one's engaging, or you're scared to do a group because you're scared people won't engage? Is anybody in that camp, just to get an idea? And so it's scary, right? Like we're putting ourselves out there and we're wondering, like, is this going to work? And so that is where I have something I call the comfort circle, which is really the secret to engagement. Because when you understand where you are in your comfort circle as a leader, as a community activator, and then you understand where your people are at their comfort circle, you are like the legend now, because you understand humanity at its core and why people are like okay talking to each other versus why they're not. And what I mean by this, I'll show you. I have this board here. So think about it like we all have a comfort zone. So you as a leader, as a community leader, you have your own comfort zone. So just to give an idea, here we have Alex had started building a spiritual healing community. I was called to bring unity in the community through personal transformation. I love that. And then Nathan said, I'm hard at work constructing the community that represents my vision. And then in the build phase now, okay, perfect. That's amazing. So let's just talk about you first as the community leader. So when we start building our communities, typically, we have gone through something hard. I don't know about you guys. I had I'm in the bathroom moment of like, am I going to be able to make it through today? You know, literally, I'd gotten divorced. I exited my business. My kids were like part-time. It was like not good. I had it was a whole mess, and I'm like, what am I even doing, with my life right now? Right. And by all looks of it, I should have been happy, but I wasn't happy. So I was in a horse spot where I'm like, I don't even think I was going to make it through another day. How many of you kind of like work in that zone of like, I don't even know what is happening? And that is maybe what has called you to want to create a community, because we want to not have anyone else feel that alone again and feel like they don't have anyone to talk to. And so the horse for our individual journey is when that thing happens, that life transition that just knocked us out, the divorce, we left the military, we, lost our job, right? Someone passed away, and so that's our horse mode. And a lot of times we have horse mode in like different ways. There could be multiple things that have happened, and then we're in horse mode again around it. And then suddenly we get up from the bathroom and we're like, okay, I think I'm going to just ask for help, or maybe I'll join a community and see if, I can figure out what's going on with me. And that's when we are able to find our voice through that pain and like come through it, right? And that's when we're getting, it's courageous to be able to join a community. So as your community leader goes, when you have people joining your community, sometimes that could be their last hope, for whatever they're going through, depending on who you're serving, whether it could be in a business, if you're serving business leaders, it could be personal transformation. If it's personal transformation, they might not have ever felt seen or heard before. And so they're hoping for that, right? But so we find our voice, we're asking for help, we're figuring out who we are, we're figuring out why did this happen? Who am I on the other side of this? It's like our reinvention, right? And then what happens is, as we find our voice, as we like figure out who we are, now all of a sudden we want to actually help others through this pain. And so now we're ready to share our voice. And that's when we might want to go on a podcast or speak on a stage or do a TEDx talk or go to a school and, you know, be able to go to maybe a rehab center or whatever, and be able to speak our truth of how can we actually help you move through this so you don't have to go through the pain that I did. And so now we're sharing our voice, right? And this is when we might want to start our community. We might want to do a My People party, because that's where we could share our voice as well, basically gathering people on a Zoom or an in-person gathering and do that. But then what happens is what John mentioned in the beginning was so perfect. Then we are losing ourselves in this process, because you guys, when you get to see that you're, and I know many of you are doing this now, and feel free to nod or like put something in the comments about your kind of reflection, because it helps. But like when you get to see that your words help somebody, you know, like go faster or just feel seen or feel accepted or just feel something, you know, like, you know, that you made an impact in somebody's life that day. Now you're willing to give all of yourself, right, to this cause, because it just feels so good to be able to help others in this way. And so, so this share your voice is where a lot of people can get stuck, because we then like, we want to overgive because we just feel so good. We're like driven by those spiritual paychecks. So good, Tim. Yes, we lose ourselves at times, and those are the moments we wake up. So good. Yeah, and so this is where a lot of people can get stuck, because then it's like we're like almost like could be drowning in ditch, you know, trying to get through another day. And so the monetize your voice circle is the hardest one for people to go in terms of monetizing their community, you know. And so that's where I've been really focusing most of my stuff on, is really helping people monetize, because they get stuck. And we'll talk about that soon. That's part of the $1 billion impact that I'm doing. But in terms of so this is you as a leader, right? You're going through this journey right now. Some of you might already be here in global reach, but I don't want to like tell you like it's done there, because when you're in global reach, you're still having to find your voice. You're still having to find your voice. I've been doing some of the cool stuff lately. Like I spoke at the United Nations, my TEDx talk, it's almost at like 2 million views. I did this huge event. That's where I met John in San Diego, and Jenny is there. Lynn was there. Laura was helping virtually, like so fun, right? I'm doing like massive things, but I'm about to do an event in New York, and I am like nervous because like now all these other world leaders are there, and I don't even like people that are with Davos and all this stuff that I don't even know yet. Like I don't even know this stuff, and I'm like going there and I'm leading that event, you know, and it's going to be different. It's going to be new, and so I'm like finding my voice again. So we just have to know our own comfort circle as we're helping others through it. Now, in terms of the people that you have in your community and in your Zooms that you're doing and in your events, we also have to understand their comfort circle. And so if people aren't engaging, or they don't have their camera on, or maybe they're scared to ask a question, or they're not reflecting, then that means they're in their own level of horse mode, you know, and maybe they're touring between horse and find your voice. They actually might not feel safe yet. They might be scared that they're going to do something wrong. And that's where you come in as the leader, is you have them feel like safe and accepted. And one of my favorite ways to feel safe, help people feel safe and accepted, is I am 100% myself, no matter what room I'm in. I'm not trying to do a show. I'm not trying to be something else. I am 100% myself. And that's what I advise everyone when you're like a community leader, is really just showing up as like you. Don't try to pretend to be something you're not, you know? And so that really helps people feel safe. And then I love how John and Monsi really speak to the guru model versus what they're doing here. And with the ARC, which is like, we're leading communities and architecting them. And it's really giving them the space. It's not about us, right? It's about giving the space for everyone to be able to talk to each other, share their lessons and learnings. And that is also how you fill the room. Because when you help people feel safe to talk to each other, to be able to feel accepted, they're going to want to show up to everything that you have. And they're going to want to invite other people too. The other great thing about the My People parties and the challenges is you don't need to have tech. You don't need to have a landing page. You don't need to have fancy videos. You don't need to have anything. You could just have a simple Facebook group, a WhatsApp group, and just say, hey, guess what? Like, I'm going to be on a Zoom on this date, this time. Who wants to join me? You know, you could do like a little RSVP. Jot forum was one of my favorite ways, or Eventbrite. Those are really simple ways to do it. Now, if you're able to do landing pages and all that stuff, that's great. Do that, you know, but if not, you can go really fast with the Zoom link and just like a Jot form. And so that's a super fast way to be able to fill your events too. And then also having speakers come and inviting the speaker to come, because then guess what happens with this My People party that you're doing in your group? You're able to do it for other people too and give them value as well. And then you guys know the secret ninja tip now, which is the comfort circles. So you know when you show up, if cameras aren't on, because I've been to a Zoom, when I was doing the cold traffic, if you go to one of my events, everyone's like right now, John, you can tell is doing it. John and Monsi, every camera's on pretty much, right? But you go to other events in other communities, majority of times a lot of cameras are off, right? That's you as the leader, like having to make people feel safe, but not forcing them, you know, to be able to turn cameras on. And the same thing with the group and being able to engage. And it's all about the comfort circle. You know, it's acknowledging what circle they're in so that you can help them move through. And so that's one of my favorite ways to do that. I'd love to, if it's okay, John, open it up for any questions. That's kind of the main philosophy I wanted to make sure you guys understood was the power of the My People party and like just running really fun challenges to get people energized around goals. That's the specific thing that I'm bringing up.
Yes, you and I are definitely on the same page. I was feeling like it'd be great to open it up now, gang. So as we do this, definitely take advantage of this precious time we have with Stacy. Get on the court where you are specifically in your community building journey. Where amongst the comfort circle do you see yourself getting bottlenecked? Maybe it's around monetizing your voice. Maybe it's around the community engagement. One thing I personally appreciated, well, I appreciate everything, but one thing that stood out to me was the emphasis on no tech required. As in-person aficionados, this is not exactly a strength of ours. We didn't go to engineering school, gang. So us being out with people is our thing. And for us, we use a word like tribe because it deliberately evokes the image of people sitting around a fire talking. No tech at all. So modernize for 2026. What does it mean? Zoom, WhatsApp, Facebook groups. These are relatively very low tech requirements, like no fancy video editing required, because it's really about the tribe coming together, engaging. And because we have to have a purpose, a direction to be going in, right? People are friggin' busy. So we can't just bring people together and say network or something. We have to have a direction to be leading them in. So I love this. All right. Who has something for Stacy Lauren, something you're working on, like some feedback on Tim Ringgold?
Thanks. Great to meet you, Stacy. I would like to ask, when you talk about people having the same goal, I have this framework in my head that you can meet people where they're at in whatever their struggle is, or you can and like show up where they are, or you can show up with a signpost of where they want to go. It's kind of like, do you want to talk about landing the connection through Pain Island, or do you want to talk about landing the connection through the shared desire of the same Pleasure Island?
Yeah, that is such a great question. Thank you so much. So this is actually such a great distinction, and I'm so glad that you brought it up. I'm just jumping right now in my seat, because this was something I studied a lot when I was basically, think about me like a human experimenter, right? Like I'm studying these people and then I'm seeing what helps people take action, what gets them stopped. And that's kind of where these comfort circles came up, was literally for me seeing people moving and not moving in like human form. And what I noticed was when people focused on the pain, that can lead to trauma bonding and negativity. And then the groups become very, I don't want to say depressed, but like at that level energetically, of the like sorrow of whatever they're going through, versus having a future-based goal. Now they're focused on like building something together and growing together. And so that's what I love. Now think about when you're thinking of the goal, you can think of the comfort circle. Like I mentioned the Networking Made Easy Challenge, that was in the Find Your Voice circle. And when I did the Promote Your Business party that was more in like share your voice, and then raise money for nonprofits was monetized, just under the nonprofit lens. And so you can also look at when you're drawing people in with the name of the event that you're doing, is you can also think of, who do I want in the room? What level? I like playing with everyone, so that's why my stuff is a little weird. But like, if you want a specific person, you want to speak to them in terms of the goal, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thanks. That does.
So good. That was great, because what happens is you can actually go into any group, even if it's a grief group, and when you know that it's focused on a goal and not the pain, then now they're moving out of the horse, so we're trying to move our communities from horse to find your voice, to share your voice. Like, think of Tony Robbins, like everyone in his community, not everyone, but like most people are going into global reach, right? Or Russell Brunson, they've got global reach community members. And that's why they're like evangelizing all of it, because everyone's sharing their voice. I love ClickFunnels. I love Tony, and then they're making money, does that make sense? And so we're doing it in that way.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I think so. I focus on longevity after loss. You're still here. Let's make the most of it. And so my tribe members are in grief groups, and they notice that in those groups, everyone's just kind of circling the airport, flying, in a holding pattern in their grief, and they're moving out, and they're actually struggling with, they're moving beyond the containers that they've been in by moving towards a shared goal. It's like creating a new problem, which I'm happy to cause in the grief world, because there's a lot of people just staying stuck in their grief forever and rehashing the belief that you never heal from it, which is just simply not true. And so I'm like, no, you can leave. You can, but It's like now it's not my responsibility, but I feel like being responsible for holding a container where they can leave those circling grief groups that they've been in forever and go somewhere new and go forward in a straight line instead of in a circle.
So good. Yeah. And it makes me think of like one of the things I studied was 12-step groups. And that's one of the best kind of programs you could be in, right? But then you also, if we could also work through goals, like in one of those groups, now they could go through these circles, in other ways too. And I'll mention someone in my community, Julie Trainer, she did a TEDx talk called Hidden Gifts of Loss. That might be something I want to connect you guys about, because that's now we're looking for the hidden gifts beyond the loss. That's a good kind of circle to go into, because it's hard. We're not doing a huge goal yet. We're just finding a hidden gift around it, So
yeah, I also appreciate I forget how much work I've done on myself, and that I'm several circles past a lot of the people I meet when I first meet them. Mm-hmm. And I remember being on a podcast where I was talking about where I was, and the host, it was not cool. She did not I was talking too many circles away from where her people were, and we weren't using that language, but I can see now that that's what was happening. I was like, I'm here and they're here, and I should really just be talking about what it was like to get here, and let's just talk about the next circle for them rather than 3 circles later. You can't relate.
And then what's so great about that is a lot of times there is that person that's been through it, right? You've been through all the growth, you're at the highest circle. And then the person's here. So there's this disconnect. But what's so great is all the people inside here, they're with the relatable ones. And then when they're opening up the conversation together, it's not as much about, granted, you're on a podcast, it's different, but when it's in the community, they're now the ones that are relating with each other, and you're just the inspiration of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, nice. Appreciate it. Thank you.
So nice to meet you.
All right. Wonderful back and forth there, Tim. We're going to keep it going. I do want to say that a great point that Tim brought up was this notion of, is this too basic for people? The answer is rarely ever. Just assume that that's a mistake to think that this is too basic for folks, that if you've been on the personal development journey for 2 years or longer, then probably whatever you're here to impart to others would not be considered too basic for them. That actually is probably perfect for them. And I've found that in speaking with you, Stacey, that there's ways to always break it down more and more and more and more. I think we have that nagging imposter syndrome. I have something to do it too. I've got to use a bunch of fancy distinctions that humanity has never heard before in order to earn my value in the marketplace, right? And that's simply not true. In fact, it's more about oneself and one's own insecurity and proving and ego and all that than actually making a real difference on people's lives. Anything you want to add to that, Stacey, before we move on to Laura Diaz?
So good. Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's call up Laura Diaz coming to us from Peru.
Hey, Laura.
Hey, I have here, guys.
What?
Come on in. Well, I'm going to replace our dear friend with Laura now. Come on.
We're already ahead of you, honey. Go ahead, Laura.
I have been in Stacey's group for quite some time now, and I got to say, I just love my people parties. And if you do this, your people will love it too. And for me, here's why. Because it is about, you hear this term, like-minded people. That's the most boring thing in the world. Why do I want to sit in a room with a whole bunch of people who think just like me? But when you have a shared goal, you're still all together because you're trying to reach the same goal, but you have lots of ideas and different things from different people because you're not saying like-minded. So I would just say, I took Stacey's course on having my people parties and I go to them all the time. And I just got to tell you, this is the best way to build your group because people love them.
Yeah, I love that too. And I'm so glad you add that. And I think what's really important for you to understand too is it's like diversity. We get to bring in, it's like humanity at the core because we're doing it based on goals. And you're opening up the opportunity for your community to network, in different ways, because like today with John, we're getting to talk about community building. And Laura's party, it might be around travel, right? And so these different groups are bringing around different goals and different sides of ourselves. And so it's a really powerful way to bring in people of all different cultures, all different languages, all different beliefs even. And we get to then community together, which is really fun.
I mean, if you want to talk about making an impact in the world, that's the way to do it because it's so inclusive of where everyone's at rather than saying, well, you got to think like us if you want to be here. Your voice only matters if it's the same voice as mine. So it's, anyway, yeah, they're great.
Thank you.
All right. Awesome, Laura. You help retreat leaders with having their retreats in Peru and not doing the obvious Machu Picchu type of experience. And I'm curious because there might be some people here who are thinking in terms of international retreat. It's something that we definitely do not recommend is that your first swing be a retreat internationally. However, it does make sense in the context of having paid tribe members, and then you have a base there, and then upgrading those folks to an international retreat or including it for those members. How have you used Stacey's methodology for those retreat leaders who are thinking, oh, I'd love to do that one day, someday, and then there's this big bridge to cross to actually making it happen? Have you been able to chunk that down to meet them where they're at?
Yeah, I think the most important thing about coming, especially to Peru, is that people know that there's an energy here. And when people come, they have an expectation. So if you really want people to change in your retreat, one of the easiest ways to make that happen is having them come ready. I'm going to Peru. I know this is going to be an amazing experience. And it is going to be an amazing and life-changing experience. So it's really takes the pressure off for making that happen when you bring them to a place where they're expecting that to happen. So I would say that's the main thing about coming here is that, and also what you're saying about start first at home and then try international. But the way we do it is we take care of everything for you. So you're not coming, traveling, worrying about the van, thinking about the chef, any of those things. You're coming and you just come here to shine and do what you want to do. And we take care of everything. So we make it very easy. And like I said, coming to a place where people are expecting something to happen also makes it easy for your retreat to be effective.
Okay, love it. Thank you, Laura.
You're making me realize, like, I'm like, oh man, because I know now John with the retreat center. There's Laura, and then there's another person in my community, Sue. I'm like, we got to do a mastermind on like what a year-long retreat would look like, where people could like go to these different hold their events at these different places. I think that would be really cool. I wanted to add one more thing, John, on what Laura was saying. Is what's also great when you have your event somewhere, whether it's at the Arc or Machu Picchu. The My People parties and the challenges help you nurture, like build that know, like, and trust, so people know that they can like come to it, because a lot of times if they're seeing something cold, they might be like, or they're seeing some like, boring webinar, or something like that. And they're like, oh, I don't know anyone. But whereas the parties and the challenges, you're meeting the people and you're building that know, like, and trust with the people that are going, which is also really fun too.
All right, gang, we're going to keep it going because we only have Stacy until 10:45. So I see John Corkshan is up.
Yeah, so it's a good segue because I did exactly what John recommends not to do, which is I started doing international retreats first, then moved to California, then scaled it down and made them more local. So that's just my punk rock nature. So I love that. So I'm in a really interesting season of, I used to do 8 to 10 retreats a year. And the thing that I really noticed was as one retreat was ending, I couldn't really incubate or support the people that were coming out of the retreat because I was looking over the mountain peak to the next retreat that I inevitably had to fill. And I think there's a lot of magic to how I was able to fill all those retreats because I really didn't have like a plan or a marketing strategy or any kind of really like lead system. It just was like, hey, this is out there. And I was teaching some yoga and I was doing some workshops and things like that. But now the focus has really shifted to where I do really want to build meaningful community on digital platforms in between those in-person offerings, not just so that the retreats are filled with more meaningful, connected people, but also so that I can do some one-to-one work with people as well. So my kind of struggle has always been like analysis paralysis, where I love to get like 7,000 ideas and then I don't really do any of them. I just kind of like, meander between a few. So my recent sort of strategy has been to outsource the tech so that somebody else is kind of setting up the VSL, the digital event, but now I'm even struggling with kind of like, what is the practical application of that? Is it like once a week having like an online class or forum where people can come together? Is it making them a little bit less frequent so they're a little more exclusive, like a once a month where people come together and get from me, tidbits of what I do in coaching or in retreats without any real ask other than just come and be there and be in community and stuff. So, there's so many different platforms. I mean, I have a lot of followers on Insight Timer. I built a school community, but I'm not really connecting with that. I've used like Google Meet a lot in the past to just kind of bring people like in almost a Zoom format like this. So, like any advice or like coaching or tips around how to, I guess, get more refined and sort of like what the offering is. And I know I really resonate with like teaching breath work and stress reduction. Like those are the two things that I think make the biggest impact with people like in my circles and at my retreats. So that has kind of been the focus of these, digital offerings going forward. But then, like the delivery mechanism or just like how frequent, like stuff like that. That's what I'm kind of playing with. The last component is I'm really feeling passionate about doing podcasting right now because I was a journalist once upon a time. So connecting to people who've kind of scaled the mountain of the entrepreneur journey in the wellness space and have not only made big impact, but made big profit. And so that's something I really want to, blend communities together. And so like that really charges me up and I feel really good about that. So that's kind of all what's in the stratosphere right now. And I just threw a lot at you. So
yeah, no, I love it. And question, when you're doing these events, are we talking about people that have already paid you, or are we talking about people that are like you're attracting and then you're wanting to eventually monetize after they come in?
For the digital ones?
For like you're talking about like Insight Timer and these different places. Are these people that have already paid something, or are we wanting to bring them into a pay? Like, are we wanting to like put them into a space where it's free and then we're going to say, okay, by the way, I'm going to have this event type thing?
Yeah, for sure. Some of them will be from my existing network, right? Which there's probably 6,000 to 7,000 people across all platforms, email lists, et cetera. But then the goal is also with this company, like to run cold emails out to people just to try to get them to attend these free offerings, essentially.
Yeah, I think it would be just fun. And I'm in the group, so feel free to, jam with questions that you have. But like the first one would be just like to have a My People party, which is just like a Zoom, announce it on Insight Timer, announce it to your email list, announce it to these different networks. And the party would be just something that you're most interested in. So it could be like the breath work, just saying like, let's all learn breathwork together party, or event or whatever. And then from there at that event, this is just one example of a lot, but that to me, it sounds like you light up when you're talking about breathwork. And so you basically then, and actually, I have a structure for it, but you're basically asking people why they want to do breathwork, what called them here into the room, what are they excited about? People are then sharing, answering, and then from there you're like, okay, has anything gotten your way? Are you nervous about anything? And then you're like, okay, this is my background with it. This is what I love about it. And then you're doing like a simple breathwork exercise. And then you get reflections at the end.
Wow.
And that's just an example of just a really fun party that will like attract a lot of people to come to. And since it's free, you could pretty much promote it anywhere because you're giving value, to it. So that would be a good way to get started for sure.
I love that. I love the idea of calling it a party too. I think that's like a really cool, that kind of is like, again, right, my sort of punk rock wheelhouse. So that really works. So my last question would be, because now I'm struggling with the idea of like, there's a school of thought that doing something consistently, right? Like having this as a weekly offering does create some, inertia, I guess, with people. But then the flip side of that is if it's once a month, does that create a little more special exclusivity? Like you have to be on for that one in that month. So I'm kind of wondering and then it's a bandwidth thing too, right? Because I travel, like I go to Bali in a couple of weeks for a retreat, and I'm over New Zealand and I'm back. And so it's like, can I actually be on every week or something? That's my own personal thing. But I'm just curious of like a delivery kind of.
Yeah, I would do it first before you worry about it. Like, see if you like it, and then from there, just quick advice would be that breathwork party. You could then say, by the way, if you'd like to work with me one-on-one,
sure,
my calendar link, and then they're then paying you that way. Or if you want to join my community where we have a blah 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 thing, and then they're joining something paid. And then once a month you're doing these free parties, and you're attracting people into your paid whatever that is. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. That was the strategy, is like to try to get people into calls for one-on-one and like high ticket offers. And then also the retreats are kind of residually sitting there too, right? Something else that they can engage with. So I think, I don't know, I guess I feel more aligned in even just talking about it out loud with one a month versus once a week. So appreciate that very much. Yeah.
All right. Great questions, John.
So good. So nice to meet you.
You too.
So this is going to wrap up the Stacey Lauren portion. We do go until top of the hour for wrap up and afterglow and more shares. So do stay with us at top of the hour. Before you go, Stacey, what's next?
Yeah. So what's next is, as I mentioned, the Monetize Your Voice circle was the hardest circle that I saw people getting stuck in. And so I helped everyone with that, where I now have this thing called a $1 billion impact marketplace. And I do these fun charity auctions where I basically take entrepreneurs, their products, their services, their offerings, their experiences, their retreats, auctioning them off in a virtual or in-person auction. And then 40% of the money goes back, because we're giving to the giver. 40% of the money goes back to the entrepreneur and the creator, and then 40% goes to the charity or the cause. And I just put it in the chat. We have our next one coming up next week. And Lynn Bloom is actually my co-host, which is going to be really exciting. And then John has agreed to generously auction off I think we're auctioning off maybe a spot at your next event at the auction.
At the April 17th through 19th Retreat to Legacy event here at the Arc. We are auctioning off a seat to that all-inclusive retreat happening here. That's right.
So exciting. And this will be John's first time at one of our auctions too. So him and Monsi are amazing in what they're doing. And I can't wait to see that get auctioned off. And I'm so excited to be able to offer that to my community. And then if you guys are welcome to come as well and see how it works. And then if you have any products, offers, services you want to be able to do, then we could talk through that with John and Monsi and see what that could look like for you as well.
It's a really fascinating model, gang, because we mentioned earlier that the whole hotel ballroom, and in this case, like the multi-speaker pitch fest thing, is just so played out. People are so sick of it. And one thing has always been missing for me is that we talk about being conscious entrepreneurs, yet how are we really contributing to these philanthropic causes? And Stacey's created a formula here, as you'll see, that really does just that. And it's fun, it's engaging, and it really moves people's lives forward. We're excited to be a part of it. It is February 19th. You can go ahead and register at the link. Lynn Bloom, since you're hosting and we happen to have you here, anything you want to add?
Yes, I'm super excited to be part of this auction. And so thank you so much, Stacey, for that opportunity. And John, I'm so excited that you're going to be sharing your offer on there and really highlighting the need for what you provide at the ARC. And I just put in here as well is that I added a people party for helping you create your auction offer. So if you sign up to be at the auction, I would love to serve you by helping you create an auction offer. It might not mean that you're going to be chosen for sure, because there's this cool thing, I'll teach you all about it this coming Tuesday, about a wheel. But some of the excitement is like, oh my gosh, am I going to get picked? And you kind of just got to be ready. And there's really great ways that we've learned that shares your offer very well, communicates the outcome, gets people excited about it in the very short amount of time that you have. And you want to do it without selling your whole soul or your business and all the time that you have, like in a year or something. So there's some strategy there. I'd love for you to join me in that as well. So if you sign up for the Impact Auction and being there, then I can also teach you how to create an impact offer. So thank you so much. Oh, and this is for helping empowering confident youth speakers, and it's with Margarita. She is a huge community builder in San Diego. And what's really cool is John and we ended up talking at his retreat center that, hey, you guys going to this? And it's like, yes, I'm actually getting to co-host something that she supports. Margaret supports. I have to be, there's red tape, you guys. But anyway, his very, very dear friend is going to be one of the speakers at the event that Marguerite is putting together for youth. So it was just such a cool, us weaving together. And so that's how he ended up even being able to come onto this auction, share an offer. But yes, I'm excited because Carrie and his friend, and Luna is a daughter. They're going to be speaking at TEDx in March. But that's how we all wow, we're all intertwined and serving the same cause. So anyways, I don't know if that was.
I feel like I want to add one more thing really quick is the monetize your voice circle. This was the hack, you guys, that I figured out, because when I know, this is going to show me the scientist part of me, is like when I noticed that people had struggled selling their offer, in masterclasses and webinars, but when it's for charity, everyone wants to be a part of it. And so this, if you have ever struggled with this, these auctions are really fun to be a part of. And I can't wait to see John share. Monty, are you going to come too? Are you coming? Or you're going to be sleeping, huh?
What time of the day is it?
It's 9 a.m.
9 a.m. to 11 a.m., right? Pacific.
Yeah.
Yeah, on Thursday.
I'll be on.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I can't wait. We'll have to talk about it.
It'll be online, right?
It's online. Yeah, great question. Okay. Yeah.
Regarding that, I don't know if we emphasize that the auction that you created is benefiting the entrepreneur as well as the movement. So so the voice. So it's not just like a normal auction where it's maybe going towards like one single nonprofit thing. She really took this model where it is helping the entrepreneur who wants to create a movement and make a big difference, but it's making it more sustainable. So there is a portion of the profit, 48% will go to the entrepreneur for what it sells for, and then 40% goes to the cause. So that's like the biggest mind-blowing thing that I've ever seen. And it's like, of course, that's how it can be sustainable on both ends. So yes, thank you, Stacey.
All right, gang.
I love that.
Move on for our Afterglow portion. So go ahead and register at that link. So Stacy and Lynn have been guests in our virtual house today. Now we're going to be virtual guests in their house on Thursday the 19th. And we'd love for you to join us. Feel free to share to others. And you can connect with them in our WhatsApp group, Retreat to Legacy Leaders, too. They're also in there. Let's give Stacy lots of love.
Thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate you. Thanks, John and Monty.
All right. Good to you, Stacy.
Awesome, guys. Thank you,
All right,
Stacy,
gang.
dear.
So we'll use the remainder of our time here for open shares. So we'll begin with, what did you take away from the Stacy Lawrence session that you can apply to your business, your retreats, your community? Jenny, go ahead.
I've also done the My People Party boot camp with Stacy, and I really appreciate the level of, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have this like perfect polished thing, like with the landing page and the offers and the templates and the like the funnel and everything like set up. I just have to create a time and people show up, invite them and ask them questions and create something for them that doesn't have to feel so heavy, like a big sales offer. It's like human connection, and that's feels great for my heart. Thank you.
Yeah, it's getting back to the essence of who we are, right? How we're meant to relate to others and to not have to present a certain persona. Oh, enough of that, gang, right? And that's like, we got enough Instagram influencers doing that in the world. They don't need more. Right? They got that covered. So we get to really show up authentically and connect. Anyone else want to share what's opening up for you and being at this community architects gathering?
Yeah, John, I can
David.
go.
David Lundberg joining us from North or South Carolina. I'm blanking.
North Carolina. So.
Where'd you move?
Yeah, we went from Arizona where it's 90 to a snowstorm we got. So.
All right, go ahead, David.
I like the people party just because of the fact, we're trying to do something for parents that have kids with breathwork and meditation. And out here in the Cary, Raleigh area, there's a huge Facebook group. So I can easily just say, hey, we're going to do a Zoom at whatever time. And if you're a parent and you want to show up, great. And if not, no big deal. So that way it doesn't kind of put any kind of stress on Ashley or I, and there's no money involved or anything. It's just kind of, here's a link. If you want to come, you can come. And if not, you don't have to. So I kind of like that approach.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Especially a niche like parents where, gosh, having a mastermind tribe where they can just share all the stuff that they have to carry, right? We started this session by talking about as entrepreneurs, we have so many things to track in our heads. So having community to unload all that, to not get heady and to actually be seen and witnessed. And that's what you're bringing to parents as well. It's an absolute win for humanity. And then in that space, of course, business relationships will get generated from that. Laura, let's go to you.
Yeah, one of the things that wasn't said about my people parties is that, like Jenny was saying, I just announce it and then I show up for it, because the great thing is that you let other people talk and then you find out what they want. You hear their language, you hear what they're saying, and then you say, oh, okay, then that's what I'll do, because that's what the people want. When the parents show up and they're saying, whatever about their kids and breath work, then David, you can learn exactly what it is you need to offer them because they're telling you what they want. So that's another great thing about the My People parties.
Mm-hmm.
And why you don't want to make it structured. You don't want to make it a teaching. You want to make it a listening.
Yeah. Okay.
Laura.
So Monty and I are founders of Retreatpreneur Mastermind, and we've been doing this for 3+ years and helping entrepreneurs use in-person retreats and paid communities to thrive. We absolutely love it because of who the leader gets to become. We've seen massive breakthroughs in leadership, income, and impact. In our model, you'll be creating 6-figure retreats, be able to have the MRR, the monthly recurring income from having a paid community. If this is something that you're interested in to explore further, Ella is going to put the 30-minute booking link in the chat so that we can have a deeper dive with you and see how this model fits. If you are not sure if you want to do this, or maybe there's something else you want to do, and you think, hey, that's pretty cool what John and Monty are doing. They have a Retreatpreneur Mastermind where we get together at the Arc and there's some intersection there, then go ahead and book a call with us. Or if you have any other ideas for partnership and rising together, that is why we do these calls, is so that we can further our own relationships with you all. Does anyone have any questions about anything I just shared? Or actually, before we go to that, I'm wondering, Tim or Knock, would one of you be willing to share about your experience of being in our mastermind tribe?
I can share. I've been through, my background is in accounting. It's in corporate, and left that about 4 years ago and joined many community, tons of community, invested a lot of money in different communities and never found my tribe. And when I met John and Monty about 2 years ago, I just knew right away. So I've been part of the community for 2 years, going on our third year coming up, right? And love my transformation myself and witnessing other people's transformation in the community, because there's a goal. We're building wealth together. We're doing things together. It's not just like transactional, it's more very relational, and they care about you, and we all care about each other, and that's where we get to grow together versus just trying to do business yourself, because doing business yourself is very hard. It's a hard journey. It's a very lonely journey. But when you have a community, a tribe that you build well together, that's what makes a difference. And they see my transformation and my business transformation too. That's what I stay with community.
All right, thank you, Knock.
Thank you.
All right, gang, so we're coming on top of the hour. We'll stay on for another couple of minutes if anyone wants to drop in further, any questions. Otherwise, we will convene again in 2 weeks. We do this the second and fourth Wednesdays at Community Architects Gathering, and we have a surprise guest. I'm actually interviewing her tomorrow to confirm. I'm really excited about who this person is, and then down the road, you can go to our Luma page on the ARC. You'll see this in the WhatsApp group to RSVP for who else we have coming down the pike. We're very excited about some of these big community builders and world-class in-person event leaders who we have joining for us. Darlene, Mopsy, anything you want to say to sign us off?
Well, I want to say that one thing I was sharing with John is that the one passionate thing I'm building communities for is that I remembered. And I'm very spiritual and getting more and more spiritual by the day. I'm realizing that, being close to God and the higher power is bringing me a lot of messages. And the truth is that we didn't come here on earth to build alone, live alone. We have to really be together. And what better than handpicking people, because there's lots of communities out there, but then I see a lot of people talking behind the back. There's a lot of drama, politics, all of that out there. And that's why we're creating a curated, handpicked community, which is paid. And that's why I'm standing for all of you guys to create your community, because that's where the highest level of transformation and leadership will happen for the planet. And we really need that right now. So thank you all for standing, for building your communities. And we are here. And it's not an easy path, but it is one of the most beautiful paths out there, for sure.
Thank you all for being here. Until we meet again, much love, be free, and together we rise. Go ahead and unmute and make some noise. Express yourselves fully.
Awesome, guys. Make it a powerful week ahead.
Much love.
Much love.